Okay. Hello, everyone. Hi, welcome to our Addictions Abstinence Group 1. Thanks for coming tonight. My name is Lara, and I'm going to be facilitating tonight. We'll be meeting for the next 6 weeks, so I look forward to getting to know you all and for all of us getting to know one another. So I was talking to my dad today about leading this group, and he said, "Oh, you should definitely start with a joke." And so I thought, I was like, "What joke?" And he reminded me of a joke that he told me a long time ago, and I thought it was a good one. Okay, so a snail is on its way to work and gets assaulted by 2 tortoises on the sidewalk, and the snail's afterwards, all beat up, the snail drags itself to the police station and is going to file a report. And so the officer comes out and says, "Okay, snail, I need you to recall everything you can about this incident that took place." And the snail says, "Well, it all just happened so fast." So that's the joke. I guess the moral of the joke in this case is, it's really all about perspective, right? So that's the joke. And so I'd like for us to introduce ourselves and maybe to get to know each other. I thought it might be nice to do this little activity where each of you one at a time, tell us about an interest that you have. And then when someone else in the group has the same interest, raise your hand. And then you say, "Oh, I have that interest. And also this is another interest." And then when somebody identifies that interest they have, then they raise their hand. So if somebody doesn't raise their hand, you maybe have to keep going.
So you have to find an interest that someone else also has.
Maybe.
Challenging.
All right. So who wants to does that make sense? Does everybody understand that process? Okay. So whoever wants to go first, you could introduce yourself and tell us about an interest that you have. Please.
I'll go. I'm Alex, and do you want a little bit of biographical information too, Lara?
Yeah, whatever you'd like to share with us. That'd be awesome.
I recently moved to Albuquerque, New Mexico. It's my first time living in the western part of the United States. I'm married for 15 years to my husband. I have 2 children, aged 9 and 11. And some interests I have. I love cooking and baking. No takers. Oh. And I got off easy. I had like a whole list of things. Okay. So right now I outsourced, because it's dinner time in New Mexico now. It's 5:19, and so I had like a time schedule for the hour that I'm here. It's like at 5:15, check the temperature of this and put these potatoes in. So they're not old enough that they know a lot about cooking, that when I walk out, I anticipate everything being done. So
awesome.
Can go next. I'm Daniela. I am married. It's super recent. We got married this summer. I just started a new job, and it wasn't more of like me wanting to start this job. I mean, it's a good opportunity. It was more of I needed to do the change. And yeah, I'm just excited for what's to come. One of my interests is watching true crime docuseries. I really enjoy watching all of those.
They are fascinating.
They are.
Yeah. And they're really addicting too. They like suck you in.
Yeah. I finish, if I start one, I have to finish it within that day or the next day.
Exactly. Yeah. It also didn't take you too long to find somebody that had interest.
I didn't.
Um, well, my name is Chris. I'm from Charlottesville, Virginia. Um, I live here with my partner Vince. A couple of my brothers live close by as well. Um, let's see. I really love to do like house projects. I've been getting into that more like over the past like couple years. Maybe like the pandemic like sparked something where I just like felt that this was just like all those HGTV shows and everything. I'm like completely fascinated and like drawn in by those and like motivated, but also I'm realistic and I'm like, I don't have the money, I don't have like time right now. So, um, but yeah, that's something I'm interested in. Um, I love photography. I don't know if anyone else is. Always been a big passion of mine since like high school. So gosh, like I love doing that on my free time, but there's not been a whole lot of free time to do that. So um try and stick that in there. Um I love to like work out and exercise. That's really good. Yes. I got everybody with that one. So, um but yeah, just that keeps me all the way around. Just physically well, mentally well, just yeah.
Definitely.
Chris, you would have had a field day here in Albuquerque. When we were looking at houses to buy, there were so many things with so much potential.
Yeah.
But like my husband is an FBI agent and he's just leading a counterterrorism squad here. So he's like starting a whole like increase in responsibility. I have this program. We were like, we cannot take on any of
Deal
these
the
things. There's a
projects.
lot of people who have done like amazing
Turnkey.
older houses. I'm very envious. I wish that I was interested in that. And I wish I could like exist in mess because I think that's part of
Yeah.
the ability to do those types of renovations.
So, Chris, I resonated with several things, but the house projects, I want to do them,
Mhm.
but feel intimidated, not confident enough in my skill, time, time limited. But yeah, I put on an addition in my house and it's like 80% done and I'm stuck right there. Like,
Mhm.
and these are the things that I probably could finish up if I had the time to learn. But I'm with you in the wanting to do house projects piece.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pilates is my life, especially since starting school. And I just also started doing yoga with Pilates, and it's like the thing that keeps me going for sure. Yeah, I can like totally check out of my mind and like be all in my body and not think about anything when I'm in there. My name is Lara. I live in Micanopy, Florida, which is the oldest inland town in the country. I'm quite sure. Like it was settled first in like 17 something. I enjoy those things, and also native plant gardening. So I like to specifically find plants that are native to Florida and plant them. Specifically ones especially that I can find that are native like to this area is even better because Florida is such a long state with so many different climates. And I love just being out in nature in general, kayaking, hiking, anything outside is something I'm interested in. Okay.
You're making me miss the water, Lara.
Oh yeah. It's
I
so
love paddleboarding and kayaking, and it's very different. I mean, I have amazing hiking like right outside my
yes,
door
we
because
do.
we're at one of the Sandia Mountains.
Yes.
So the mountain views are amazing,
Yeah.
but I miss the water. And I
Yeah.
love Charlottesville. I lived a lot of my adult life in the DC area, but my sister went to UVA and lived in Charlottesville for some time. So I'm familiar with that little 2-hour drive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Charlottesville is so beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is beautiful.
Yeah.
But I had lived in Colorado for the past couple years and just moved back like last year. Um, I had also missed the water, but the mountains,
Yeah.
beautiful.
Mountains. Ugh.
Amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay. Thank you, everyone. It's I look forward to the beginning of getting to know you all. Okay, so this is our first week of abstaining from a behavior. I just want to be straightforward in saying that you don't need to share what your behavior is at all if you don't feel comfortable doing so. We can just talk about how it feels not engaging in the behavior and the new things we've noticed about ourselves. But I just want you to share what you feel comfortable doing. And, you know, with any counseling relationship, there are like expectations of confidentiality, and with a group sessions like we have, there the limitations are a little greater. So I just ask you all to keep the information that we share private just within this group, and not share anything about anyone else in your personal lives, just so we can maintain confidentiality and feel like this is a safe space to share who you are. So can we all agree on that? So okay. All right, so how about we start with maybe the lows? We'll start there and we'll end with the highs. So maybe we could all go around and share like a low point that you've noticed, or a sore spot that you've noticed throughout this week as you've been not engaging in your behavior. We could think about it for a minute if you're not ready. Does everybody want like a minute to ponder? Or yeah, let's take a moment and think about sometime when you were kind of maybe had a craving to engage in your behavior, or you missed it, or any feeling like that.
I guess I'll share and I'm okay sharing what I'm abstaining from. It's a behavior. I'm a nail biter, always have been. It's one of those things that just is like a thorn that sticks its head in there all the time. Something I've tried to stop before in like the past, and always seem to uh, fall back into it. Um, and I will say maybe my low for the week was honestly a lot of like, the word that comes to mind is just distraction,
Mhm.
preoccupation type of thing. So I really didn't, admittedly, like this past week, dedicate any time to kind of stopping this like behavior that I want to abstain from, just because I have been settling into my practicum, like the two courses, like still juggling work. So it wasn't too at like the forefront of my mind, as it is like now going into the second week. So I guess I'll say like my lowest point was just that like distraction piece that kind of kept me from
Mhm.
really like focusing on this project kind of moving forward throughout the semester.
I'm guessing too that the increased stress of juggling more balls has probably like accelerated the behavior, or at least had you engaging in the behavior without.
Hmm. Totally. Yeah. And then like in the back of my mind, even too, it's like, oh well, I know the project is here, the class is here. It's time to it's time to like start giving it up. But then I'm like juggling like a million things. So like you said, it was like the urge was there, the actual like doing it was there. So now I'm refocusing.
Thanks for sharing your journey, Chris. I'll be interested in just hearing your experience. My daughter, who's 11, is like a nail picker, and she
Mm.
like picks cuticles, she picks the skin around her nails and her toenails, and it drives me bananas. And I've like looked at all this research on like body focus, repetitive behaviors, and like, but I find myself sometimes, even with all my therapy education, like becoming that person in the motivational interviewing skit. I don't know if you've listened to the lecture yet. There's like a comedy skit linked at the beginning where the therapist is like, stop it. This is the advice. Just stop it. And like, I get like that sometimes with her. I'm like, go put a pair of socks on. Like, just get something to hold. Like, I don't know. And I don't have compassion for it because it's not one of my areas of focus, but I'm disappointed in myself, like how little empathy I have for that. So it'll be interesting, I'll be interested to hear like if you find any strategies that help you or ways that I could come alongside her in this, because I know with her, it's anxiety.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
at the root of a lot of it. And I have that too. And, telling her to stop it doesn't help. So anyway, I'm interested in that. I can share. I'm also okay sharing what I'm giving up. I gave up social media like Instagram on my phone.
Mhm.
I was finding that it was just something that I went to when I didn't want to process like a feeling I was having or engage with the present moment. And for some reason, I would just like go on my phone and just scroll. And I know that it was leading me to feel things like disconnect. Like I thought that it was connecting me with people, but it really wasn't. And I know I was wasting a lot of time on it. So I took it off, and I think maybe I'm in like a high, like the initial high period where I'm seeing the positives. Because like the beginning of the week, I got like a fiction book out of the library, and I was like in the evenings, instead of being on my phone, I'm going to read this fiction book, which I really enjoyed the fiction book. And I made some plans, like I was going to take a bath. I just tried to make other plans and other things that I was going to engage in. I joined a choir. And so one evening a week, I'm singing, which is one of my interests again, which I haven't done in a while. So I felt like I filled my schedule up, so I didn't have a lot of downtime. But then today I also do some lay counseling as part of like a community of faith, and I had a new client, and I know her mom. And after I had that session, I was like sort of spiraling a little bit about how I did. I was like, you know what, I wasn't reflecting enough. I had a lot of countertransference. Like, she's a college student who dealt with some of like the issues that I dealt with in college. So I found myself wanting her to like not have these feelings, or I felt like I was like I don't know. I felt like I was asking too many questions. My question to reflection balance was off. And I felt like I was also like wanting to start challenging, and it's the first session. Like, hey, if you keep going down this road, So after that session, I was trying to read the motivational interviewing chapter, and I just felt myself going to my phone, finding something else to look at. Like, because I was anxious about how I did with this client. And I was like, she's not going to want to come back to me. Like, I just blew that. And then I was reading the very boring textbook. Sorry for the textbook, but like, I'm trying to read the textbook. And I just was like, okay, I'm going to look at this sale of like children's clothes. Don't need to do that. I was like, just kept checking my email. And I was like, oh, I'll just check my other email. And I was like, I'm still on my phone. So maybe the thing I need to give up is the phone, not just. So anyway, that's probably too much information.
No, that was wonderful. Thank you.
I do that too. And I try to avoid like having to do any, like, if I know my house is a mess, it bothers me, but it also like stresses me out that there's so much to do that I just want to like close my eyes and not look at it. So I'm like, oh, let me get on my phone, because it's like I know I'm gonna get tired if I clean. And eventually I have to like get off my phone and like just tell myself like, no, like you need to clean, or you need to do your homework. Like you can't just leave it. I know it's hard. The behavior I give up is I usually always talk myself down or out of something. Kind of like always telling myself or expecting like the other shoe to drop. if I get a good opportunity, like, nah, like, this is too good. And I always like I'll make a list of like everything like bad that's gonna happen. And I feel like in a way I kind of like manipulate myself into not getting that, right? Like I make it a bad thing. So you know what? I'm gonna stop that, especially with this pregnancy, because like everything in me wants to be scared. Like, you know, like what if it happens again? And it's just been hard trying to tell myself, you know, like every time I have like a negative thought, like I feel like I do it in response to like if I prepare myself now, like the
Mm.
heartbreak, or like I won't be hurt as much because I saw it coming. But right now I've just been trying to like, if I feel it like creeping in and I want to get scared, and like I just have to take a deep breath in, and I'll just say like little positive affirmations to myself when I have the negative thought. But yeah, that's been something, it's been something hard for me to control, that like any little good thing, like I guess I've done it so long that now it's hard to stop, and it's just something that I do, like it's just normal. So it's been very hard to try and like cut it off like cold turkey, and I know we're gonna do positive from now on. So that's been something I've been struggling with.
What was one of the high points for you this week in thinking about your stopping their negative thinking?
I think my high point definitely was today, like seeing my HCG levels, knowing like, okay, like we like more than doubled that, like that like we're good. I sent the results to my doctor. He called me. He said, no, we're doing good. So that kind of like gave me a reassurance of, you know what, like you've been telling yourself or trying to tell yourself that, you know, I have a positive, like I like having a positive outlook into it. You know, I have a healthy baby. I'm gonna have a healthy pregnancy. My body will do what it needs to do to protect my baby. So it's like it's been working. Like I'm not feeling it. It definitely was like the highest point of my week. Like it just proved to me that, you know, like you're okay. Like all your negative thoughts, they're just in your head.
Thank you. Who else will share with us the high point for you?
Just turning down my space heater. Suddenly I've gotten extremely hot. And then, I guess my high point is, I think, seeing all the other strategies that I can use to fill my time that have positive impacts on me. Like I made it a point to take a bath this week. Like I set that intention and I followed through, versus like use of my phone and use of Instagram was reactionary and it was like a time suck. And so I feel like I got time back, and then I was able to use that time to do things that really are meaningful to me. And I am doing some yoga. I'm doing yoga with Adrian, and I started a little bit late because we were on a trip, but like I'm trying to do yoga every day. And like I said, I'm trying to read in the evenings versus be on my phone. And I'm seeing how much those behaviors leave me feeling filled up, versus sometimes when I was on my phone, it would leave me feeling like I'm missing out with people. I didn't have, you know, I didn't follow up in relationships, or it would make me feel jealous of like their experiences or their item, like really low things, like low forms of myself, bringing out the worst, like my jealousy or my comparison, or so being free from those feelings of comparison, saying like, I'm just going to focus on my life and like doing things that I know like I'm called to in this season. And that's been, I've enjoyed like seeing the fruit of that.
Mhm.
Since I was pretty honest with not having fully had my focus on, abstaining this week, I guess I'll just pick like just a
Mhm.
high moment from the week, just
Yeah.
kind of relating to everything in general, just being I was just talking about it with my partner earlier today, for a different reason, but it just makes me think of uh feeling a lot of like pride and proudful for just like balancing everything that I have, like,
Mm.
with school and just like starting the practicum and juggling work and just like all of these different things that have happened. Um, and just like being able to feel proud about that. And then like
Mhm.
just like realizing I'm juggling a lot and doing pretty well despite all of that. So yeah, I would say that was like a pretty high moment. And as well as when I started the practicum on that first day, like there was like I don't know how to describe it, but just that feeling of like, ah, I'm taking that next step for myself in the career and like how cool that feels. So that was a pretty cool, pretty high feeling.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I bet. Um, what, what do you like? If there was a thread to like tie together all of the kind of like negative emotions that you all kind of feel with your behavior, like what would you all identify as like the a thread? Anybody have any any thoughts about that?
Something that is common in our three experiences.
Yeah, like the maybe like the way that it makes you feel engaging in the behavior. Yeah. Like, yeah.
Maybe guilt.
Yeah. Yeah. Does that resonate with you guys?
Yeah, especially when my kids will be like, Mom, why are you on your phone?
Mhm.
Like at times when we were together or doing something, or there was like there's sort of like a missing out. And I don't know if this applies as much to Chris's as to Daniela's,
Hmm.
but like when she's engaging in that sort of self-protection of fear of the future, she's missing out on sort of like hopeful expectation. And I see like with mine, like I'm missing out on the life that I'm given by looking at other people's lives. I don't know, Chris, if there's sort of a if your nail biting is time consuming, or if you feel self-conscious about your behavior. I know I feel self-conscious about my phone usage in front of my kids. So
Hmm.
like they call me out and I'd be like feel really embarrassed and like ashamed about it. So I don't know if there's like a shame element if you're nail biting or not, or
Totally. I think definitely like there's moments where it's more intense than like others, and then that makes it just more noticeable than others. And it's so embarrassing when just people are like, ah, stop the nail biting and stuff like that. And 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 it's like, ah, because I don't like it myself and stuff. So it's like, ah, yeah, it's like that shameful moment
Mhm.
almost of just like, ah, here I go again.
like look up at the clock and be like, where did those 30 minutes go? Or like my screen reminder will pop up and say like, you spend 5 hours a day on average on your phone. I'm like, what?
Oh my God, that's the worst. I'm like, can I turn that feature off? Like,
I need to know how much time I've spent on my phone.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
don't. It's somehow built into my phone. It's always telling me.
Yeah, shame was the thing that kind of like, I felt like the thread that tied all of your stories together and all the you know, the standout and negative emotion that I was hearing. All right, we're almost out of time, but I'd like to end on a high note. So what is the what positive emotion is elicited from you all collectively? Like what kind of what's the thread that ties all of your, I don't want to say a word, but like the thoughts of your future self without this behavior, without this hindrance in your life? Like what's, can you
think
imagine it? Yeah, Daniela.
like proud. I feel like
Mhm,
we all were proud of
mhm,
at least
mhm,
being able to not do our behavior, even if it was for a little bit.
mhm.
I think there's some freedom too, like when you feel like, you know, there's freedom for Daniela to hope, or freedom for me to be present, or freedom from Chris to maybe find some other more positive ways to deal with some of the underlying issues with the nail biting. Again, and I don't want to say, Chris, I understand it, or I'm trying to put words in your mouth, but like I do think that there is freedom on the other side.
Mhm.
Definitely.
Mhm. Chris, any last thoughts?
I was just thinking, like, I love that you mentioned the word freedom. I think that's kind of stood out to me in a sense because it's like there is like that, it's like over in the distance, like the light at the end of the tunnel type of thing where you can feel free from feeling trapped in that behavior. Isn't that something that I'm hopeful for? So I like that you kind of ended on that note that tied everything together, I think, for the day. The session for me at least. It was a good, yeah.
Okay, well, I challenge each and every one of you to embrace that feeling of freedom right this minute. Yes, it is a future feeling and also can be a present feeling right now. So I encourage you to embrace the freedom that you feel. Okay, thanks for coming. And we'll see you same time next week. Okay, good night.
Thank you.
Night.